Hello students, I am your chemistry teacher, Ms. Samin. Today's topic is hybridization. As you know, that hybridization explains how atomic orbitals mix to form new orbitals that help atoms create stable bonds. This concept allows us to understand why molecules have specific shapes and angles.
Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to solve a chemical puzzle that actually defines the 3D shape of, well, pretty much everything around us, from the water you drink to the very DNA inside your cells.
All right, let's jump right in with a classic mystery, starring carbon, the absolute backbone of life. Now, on the surface, it seems pretty simple, but there's a really interesting contradiction right at its heart.
You see, if we just look at carbon's basic electron setup, the rules tell us it should only have 2 electrons ready to form bonds. But out in the real world, in millions of molecules like methane, we see carbon always forming 4 super strong, stable bonds. So what's going on here? How is that possible?
And here's the real kicker. In a methane molecule, it's not just that there are 4 bonds. It's that they are all perfectly identical, same length, same strength, and they all push each other away to form this perfect symmetrical shape, a tetrahedron. Now, this just shouldn't be possible if carbon was using its standard s and p orbitals, because those have totally different shapes and energies.
Well, it turns out the universe and the atoms that make it up are incredibly clever. They solve this puzzle with a really elegant and powerful idea called hybridization.
So the big idea here is that atoms don't have to just play with the cards they're dealt. They can actually take their existing orbitals, the round s orbital and those dumbbell-shaped p orbitals, and just mix them up to create a brand new set of identical hybrid orbitals.
I love this analogy. It's perfect. If you mix red and yellow paint, you don't get a bunch of red and yellow dots, right? No, you get a completely new, totally uniform color, orange. Atoms are basically doing the exact same thing, just with their electron orbitals. So let's check out our first recipe and see exactly how this builds the perfect solution for our methane mystery.
For methane, the carbon atom takes its 1,2s orbital and all 3 of its 2p orbitals and, you guessed it, throws them all into an atomic blender, so to speak.
And you can see the process right here. First, the atom uses a little bit of energy to kick an electron up from the 2s orbital to an empty 2p orbital. Now it has 4 unpaired electrons, which lets all 4 of those orbitals mix together into something new.
And the result? It's just pure geometric perfection. We get 4 new identical orbitals called sp3 orbitals. Pretty simple name, right? It's for the 1s and 3 p's that made them. And to get as far away from each other as possible, they naturally point to the corners of a tetrahedron. And just like that, you get that perfect 109.5 degree bond angle. Methane mystery solved.
Okay, so let's look at another recipe atoms can use to build completely different shapes. What do you think happens when you don't mix in all of the p orbitals?
Well, in sp2 hybridization, the atom mixes its 1s orbital with only 2 of its p orbitals. This gives us 3 identical sp2 hybrid orbitals, and they all lie flat in a single plane 120 degrees apart. And this is the key part. It leaves 1 p orbital completely untouched and left over.
And we can see this perfectly in molecules like boron trichloride. That central boron atom uses its 3 new sp2 orbitals to bond with the chlorine atoms, and what you get is this perfectly flat triangular molecule.
So what about that leftover p orbital? Well, it turns out it's absolutely essential. It sits just above and below the flat part of the molecule, and it's used to form a second bond, what we call a pi bond. This is exactly how we get double bonds, which are everywhere in organic chemistry, like right here in ethene. Finally, let's explore the simplest recipe of them all, which, as you might guess, is perfect for building things in a straight line. Yep, just as the name suggests, sp hybridization is just mixing 1 s orbital with 1 p orbital. That's it. This gives you 2 sp hybrid orbitals, and to minimize how much they repel each other, they just point in exactly opposite directions. This creates a perfectly linear shape with a 180-degree angle. Beryllium chloride is the textbook example for this one. The beryllium atom in the middle forms 2 sp hybrid orbitals, which then bond to the 2 chlorine atoms, creating a molecule that is just a perfectly straight line. It's simple, elegant, and really strong. Okay, but hybridization isn't just for these neat, perfectly symmetrical molecules. Its true power is that it also explains the shapes of some of the most important molecules we know, things like ammonia and water.
Now this is where it gets really cool. Look at this. Both the carbon and methane and the nitrogen and ammonia use the exact same sp3 hybridization. They both end up with 4 hybrid orbitals arranged in that tetrahedral shape. But as you can clearly see, their final molecular shapes are totally different. So, what gives?
Well, the answer is that one of nitrogen's sp3 orbitals isn't being used for a bond. It's holding a lone pair of electrons. And this lone pair is kind of an electron hog. It takes up more space and it pushes the other bonds away more strongly. It actually squashes that bond angle down from a perfect 109.5 degrees to about 107 degrees.
And this is exactly why water is bent. Oxygen also uses sp3 hybridization, but it has 2 lone pairs. So these 2 big electron-rich orbitals create even more repulsion, pushing those poor hydrogen atoms even closer together and creating that iconic, life-giving bent shape with an angle of 104.5 degrees. It's amazing.
So, to bring it all together really fast, here's a recap of the 3 main recipes. sp3 gives you 4 orbitals and a tetrahedral shape. sp2 gives you 3 orbitals for a flat trigonal shape. And sp gives you 2 orbitals for a linear shape. See the pattern? The number of orbitals you mix in determines the geometry you get out.
And this is why all of this matters so much. This isn't just some abstract geometry lesson. In the world of chemistry and biology, a molecule's 3D shape determines everything. Literally everything about its function. It's why things smell and taste the way they do. And it's why a drug will or will not fit into the protein it's designed to target. Shape is everything. This elegant atomic-level architecture is happening constantly, all around you, dictating everything from why ice floats on water to how proteins fold into tiny complex machines. It really makes you stop and wonder, right? If atoms are this creative, what other incredible molecular structures are they building right now, all around us?